the Spot with David Rodgers show are solely based on the show's hosts, guests, and viewers. We are solely responsible for all show content in its entirety and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of any sponsors in any way. These broadcasts are presented and made public by the On the Spot with David Rodgers team in the hope that it'll be entertaining and informative to our viewers and listening audience.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's 7 o'clock and time for On the Spot with David Rodgers. And now, here he is, Mr. Friday Night, the show pony himself, the man, the dream, the legendary David Rodgers.
Good Tuesday afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is David Rodgers, creator and host of On the Spot with David Rodgers. As you see that I'm going solo tonight, but I'm not going to be solo for long. My buddy Byron Bagwell, let's wish him some well wishes as he's getting a lot better, fighting a little sickness this past week. So he's going to take the night off, and we'll have him again next Tuesday. Also in the studio tonight, bringing you all these beautiful graphics and everything that gets done on the show, the pictures and all the things that you see, all the lower thirds and everything. That is done by the Dancing Destroyer himself, Super Dave Holland. Say hello, David, to everybody.
Hello, everybody.
What a beautiful day we have here in the great, great United States of America. Boy, I tell you what, guys. Hey, we dodged a big bullet this past weekend, so we got a lot to talk about there. We got a lot of local things to talk about. And, of course, we're going to open up the show like we always do with our prayer, our pledge, and our patriotic quote of the night. But I want to welcome everybody in. After a week hiatus last week, had a couple of things come up, so we wasn't on the air last week, but we're back in full force this week. Again, my name is David Rodgers. No Mr. Byron Bagwell tonight, but we do have Dave Holland. Our special guest tonight's Mitchell Gunner, running for school board, District 4 here in Bradford County. So he's going to be coming on and joining me. We'll be talking about a little bit about his campaign, some of his ideas, some of the things that he wants to implement if he is elected for the Bradford County School Board. Got the weather, got a lot of things coming up. So a busy weekend this past weekend. Again, the nation was in a frenzy this past weekend because, buddy, I tell you, since March 30th, 1981, Mitchell and Dave, haven't had this kind of thing going on. That's when old John Hinckley tried to take out President Reagan. And you know why he did that? I bet y'all know why he did that. He was trying to impress Jodie Foster. He thought he could impress Jodie Foster by taking out the president. President Reagan, one of the greatest presidents we've had, along with Donald J. Trump. I think both of them are neck and neck. And I tell you, we dodged a big bullet, but we're going to get into all that here in just a few minutes. I want to start off the show, as we always do, with our prayer, our pledge, and our patriotic quotes of the night, as I got two of them for you tonight. Everybody at home and everybody tuning in from wherever you're at, all across the great United States, all across the world. Hey, David, do you know we had a view the other night? I don't know if Mitchell knows this. We had a view from Dubai, UAE, United Arab Emirates. We had a view. How about that? Dubai. Somebody from Dubai likes what we're doing. Probably somebody in the military, but that's okay. He was probably at a house party or something, and he said, look at those guys. Those guys are from Bradford County, Stark, Florida. Look at them doing their show. Yeah. Now, the On the Spot Motorsports page is a different thing. We can talk that it's going worldwide. It is worldwide. We got people tuning in from Mexico, South America, Europe, the Middle East, all over the United States, Canada. You name it, it goes there. Mitchell, where are we at? 14,000 and what?
700.
14,700, not views, baby, followers. How in the world, 14,700 followers on a Facebook Live podcast, David? What do you think about that?
Wow.
That is absolutely crazy and nuts. It's just amazing. He's going to talk a little bit about that as we talk a little bit about the Kansas City as well. And then, of course, we're going to have the other things that everybody's interested in. And, of course, that's the Trump shooting, attempted assassination this past weekend. Everybody was tuning into their televisions, their social media outlets, and millimeters, Dave, millimeters from us talking about a dead former president. That is just absolutely crazy that we're saying that in today's world, if you want to say, in today's lifetime, where technology security enhancements and advancements have come into play. And we are talking about a guy, if he'd have turned his head, David, just a little bit, guess what? Wouldn't be here today, would he?
No.
No.
Man,
and
that was close.
it was very close, David, and I'm just thankful that he turned his head when he did, and that guy wasn't the greatest shot in the world. And we're going to get into that, me and Mitchell, as we break this down. David, really, with that type of rifle that he had an AR-15 laying down. I know they got to take the wind into play and everything. Shot was roughly 130 yards, 140 yards. Mm-hmm. And if Donald Trump doesn't turn his head, and I want to get Mitchell's opinion on this when we bring him on. If he doesn't turn his head, I think that's a clear shot in the temple. I think that's a clear shot in the temple. And just because he turned his head just that slightly, it grazed his ear, and unfortunately, Mr. Campitori lost his life due to that, because that bullet went straight by his ear and hit him as he was covering his family up. And we're going to get into that as we go, for sure, because I want to get everybody's response to that. If you're tuning in right now, please, reach out to everybody. Tell them we're live and on the air. We want as many people as we can on the show tonight. I want your opinions. I want your thoughts. I want what you think may have happened here, how it happened, why did it happen. I want to hear your opinion. I do want it in taste, though. One thing I will say about the On the Spot with David Rodgers page, and even the On the Spot Motorsports Media page, David, we've always said, hey, we give everybody their chance to speak. We try to do it in a tasteful manner. I know that Mitchell does his show in a tasteful manner. We do our show in a tasteful manner. So please, I will read your comments as long as they're tasteful and they're not directed particularly to anybody. I have a lot of Democrat friends that I work with and that tune into this show. You have a chance to speak your mind as well. Nobody's going to berate you here. If it is, I will not read the comment, David. And of course, we will take those comments away. But this show is an opportunity for everybody to voice their opinion, the freedom of speech, as we always say. So this is the time for you to bring out what your thoughts are and what you think happened this past weekend. And not just only that, but the Republican convention that's going on, the Democratic convention that's coming up. Anything and everything we will entertain. If I don't know the answer, Byron is on the comments right now. We're going to try to get him on the horn here in just a little bit. We will try to get the answer for you. But I want everybody to feel comfortable with this show and the topics that we're discussing. And again, I've gotten a lot of messages, Dave, and I called you earlier today, this morning, and I even called Mitchell as well, because I wasn't sure if you was going to be here, but you are, and thank goodness you are. But I had a lot of people said, hey, you are going to be talking about this, right? What happened? What's going on? Yeah, we're going to break down the timeline. You've got pictures up. That we're going to be bringing up about the locations, the things that we've seen, the things that could have happened, the things that did happen, the things that didn't happen. We're going to bring all that up to you here in the forefront. But let me go ahead and get the show started, as we always do, with our prayer, our pledge, and our patriotic quote of the night. Everybody tuning in, please bow your heads. Our righteous Heavenly Father, let us once thank again for a beautiful and glorious day you've given us, dear Lord. Thank you for this beautiful Tuesday night as we are with our brotherhood tonight, dear Lord. Yes, minus one, Mr. Byron Bagwell. Put your healing hand and your touch on him to let him get better, dear Lord, so he can rejoin us with our great show and the things that we need to discuss and let our viewing audience know. Also, anybody that's sick as well, Miss Lisa, Shelley, Autumn, everybody that's sick, please touch them and make them well again. Thank you for letting us live in the greatest country in the world today, the United States of America. I tell you, please, dear Lord, we need God back in our country and in our lives and in our schools. And we need for you to intervene, dear Lord, and touch each and every one of us Americans, full-blooded red Americans, dear Lord, that live here. and live in this great country, this most powerful country, dear Lord, to bring it back to the esteem and the greatness that it always has been, dear Lord. Thank you for our military, dear Lord, as they're serving abroad or here, they're fighting the good fight, the domestic and international terrorism, and any other entities that want to harm us, dear Lord. Please keep a hedge of protection over them and bring them back to their families safely, dear Lord. I want to say a special thank you, dear Lord, and please touch all these men and women that are our first responders, dear Lord. Our law enforcement, whether it's local, whether it's regional, whether it's state, whether it's national, dear Lord, that you touch each and every one of those men and women, as we had an incident this past weekend, dear Lord, that could have went very much awry, but those people stepped up in time and in need when they needed to and did the job that they are paid to do, dear Lord. Keep a hedge of protection over them. Keep them safe. Keep them out of harm's way. And bring them back safely to their families as well, as they're out there doing the fight, dear Lord, each and every day to keep us safe, whether we're out, whether we're at home, or the safety of our home, that we know that if we need them, dear Lord, that they'll be there, they'll respond and be able to take care of that situation. Any spoken or unspoken prayer requests, dear Lord, please touch each and every one of them. You know what's on their heart, what's on their minds, and what's on their souls, dear Lord. Please put your guiding hand, touch their hearts, touch their minds, and bring them back at ease, dear Lord. Thank you for the everyday American worker, dear Lord. This is the backbone of our great country and our powerful country, is the men and women that go out and work each and every day to make this country thrive. Bring the economy back up, dear Lord. Drop the inflation. Help us do that, dear Lord. Please touch all those politicians that has control of this, and that you touch them and let them make the right decisions for us, the American people. Thank you for the food that we receive each and every day, that it goes into the nourishment of our bodies and our bodies to thy service. Thank you again, dear Lord, for just letting us live another day, dear Lord, for all the families that got affected this past weekend, dear Lord, in Butler, Pennsylvania. The one that gave him the ultimate sacrifice, Mr. Comptour, and to him and his family, that I know they're grieving now, dear Lord, but please touch them as they go through these next painful days, dear Lord, and that you bring comfort to that family. Those people that were critically injured, now that are now in stable condition, you have touched them, dear Lord. Please bring them back to full health so they'll be able to go on with their lives. We ask for all these things that I just asked you for in your Son's name, Jesus Christ. And the congregation says, Amen. All right, all right. David, I love our country. I love the red, white, and blue. And you know what? You're fixing to bring up that beautiful red, white, and blue here in just a second. We bleed red, white, and blue, don't we, Mitchell? Don't we, David? Don't we, Byron? And anybody that's watching. That's okay. We're going to stand up. We've got a flag back here, David. Yeah. It's all right. I'm going to ask Mitchell Gunner to lead us in our pledge.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen, amen. All right. Welcome into On the Spot with David Rodgers. I'm your host, David Rodgers. No Mr. Byron Bagwell tonight, as he's at home recouping from really battling some illness all week. I had been battling some illness all week. The only two people that didn't get sick was you two. And that's amazing. But if you probably would have hung out with us last Sunday, you probably would have been sick too. But thank goodness you didn't. Y'all are well and good to go. My special guest tonight is the other half of the On the Spot with David Rodgers page, which we call it now the On the Spot Motorsports Media page. Mr. Mitchell Gunner, who's the host there, he will be coming on as he is running for school board, District 4, Bradford County. We're going to be talking to him in just a few minutes. So, okay, that's all right. I got it, Dave. There ain't no big deal. We'll take care of that. But I've got a couple of quotes for you. All right, here we go. Mercy to the guilty is cruelty to the innocent. Mercy to the guilty is cruelty to the innocent. Byron knows this because he's the one that gave it to me. So I don't want Byron to answer, but I will give you a little bit of a hint. So mercy to the guilty is cruelty to the innocent. He was a Scottish economist and philosopher. He was famous for his 1776 book, Wealth of Nations. He was instrumental, David and Mitchell and our viewing audience, of free markets, assembly of line production methods, and had a dealing in the GDP, the gross domestic product. Who would I be talking about? That's a tough one, ain't it? Mercy to the guilty is cruelty to the innocent. He's famous for his 1776 book, Wealth of Nations. He was instrumental of free markets, assembly line production methods, and the GDP, the gross domestic product, which we all know and are aware of.
That sounds a little bit like John Hancock.
No, wasn't a founding father.
It wasn't.
Nope. Scottish economist and philosopher.
1776.
1776.
Adams.
Woo! You said it. His first name is Adam. Let me give you the last letter, S. Adam.
Swit.
I'm trying to think. Trying to go back to
Yeah. Go back and think.
my economy.
Yeah, your body classes. Yeah, come right into play there. Yeah. Adam Smith. Smith. Adam Smith. All right, here, everybody knows this one. No amount of evidence will ever convince an idiot. Boy, hey, look at here. We're going to be talking plenty of that tonight. No amount of evidence will ever convince an idiot. He was a famous author back in the day. He goes by a couple of names.
I know who it is.
Yeah, I know you know who it is.
I don't.
I gave you. You don't? If I say Samuel Langhorne Clemens, who would you say?
Samuel Langhorne Clemens.
Langhorne Clemens. Samuel Langhorne Clemens.
Yeah, that's who I'd say.
That's what you'd say. Well, then you'd be saying Mark Twain.
Oh,
How about
same
that?
Guy, same guy.
Same guy.
Trying to trick me.
Well, I wasn't trying to trick you, Dave. I was trying to give you a hint. Byron was sitting over there chomping at the bench going, man, I should have answered that.
I think there's also another quote about don't always get in an argument with a fool because the onlookers wouldn't know the difference of who was who.
Well,
That's
that's...
another quote of his.
Yes, I think you're right. I think you're exactly right. Well, before we go on, I want to welcome everybody to this show. Shirley Bagwell, Lisa Moody Tomlinson, and some other people are watching. Dwight Allen, good evening, fellow patriot, my brother. Lisa Tomlinson says, good evening, guys. Jason Vaughn, who I work with, we call him Sarge. Sarge. He was in the military. What's up, Sarge? Shirley Bagwell, good evening. Scott Munnings, good evening, sir. Good evening to you. Hinckley tried to impress someone who was not interested in men. He's now out of the nut ward. Yeah, you're right. Hey, back then, I don't know if she's interested in men or not now, Dwight. I think she's married, isn't she? Jodie Foster, we'll have to look that up. D.A. Dennis Cruz is watching. Alice Melinda Banks, good evening to you. Byron Bagwell is watching. You know Byron?
I think I know him.
I know him. Do you know Byron?
I know Byron.
Well, Byron and Lisa better run their tail up here, bring us 3 Philly steak cheese sandwiches and some daggum Doritos, and bring them up here to us so we can have a little lunch. But you said or a little dinner. You said you don't want any of that.
I've already had steaks.
Yes, you have. You've had all kinds of stuff the last 2 days. You can tell the viewing audience what you had here when you come home. Mark Goody. Oh, thank God Trump is okay after this attack. Our government agencies cannot be trusted to protect him. Nope, I agree, Dwight, and we're going to get into that because of my personal feeling, just to put it out there, I think he ought to hire his own security detail.
Yeah.
I think he ought to handpick his people and have his own people. I really do. Hey, hello, Mark Goody. Samantha Lynn's watching. Good evening, brothers, sisters, patriots, infidels, and miscreants. Would you like to know who says that?
Yes, I would.
Who is that? That would be your co-host. Or your other host.
I would think that guy, Byron Bagwell.
Byron Bagwell. You would be absolutely correct. God is the reason President Trump's still alive. There was no luck involved. I agree. I'm really confused at some of the people behind Trump who never flinched during the chaos. Very suspicious behavior to me. Absolutely, Dwight. I'm going to get into some of those theories and some of those possibilities, some of those things that's going on with that. Jimmy Bowers, who I work with, is watching. Mitchell Gunner's watching.
Mitchell Gunner watching.
Yeah, he is. D.A. Dennis Cruz. Trump is Ford tough. He doesn't wear a bow tie. He is tough. Give him that. Dwight Allen's back watching. CIA feds let the shooting happen due to the Supreme Court's overturning of Chevron. Interesting there. That's Scott Munnings. Good evening, brother. I am feeling better. Oh, you're talking to Byron. I'm feeling better too, but I think Byron is feeling better as well. Vote Dana Bell. She is a great mother. That comes from Tom Greg Bailey. You know him?
I know him.
Do you? Well, maybe Tom Bailey's got some questions for you. Alex Jones was right again. Amen, brother. Henry Ford. That's a good guess. Sandler. Lots of laugh. That was a good one. That was a good one. Again, welcome into the show. David Rodgers playing solo tonight, but I'm going to have Mitchell Gunner joining me. He's going to join me for the rest of the show. This Dancing Destroy himself, Super Dave Holland, doing his thing behind the controls. He's our senior director and senior producer of the On the Spot with David Rodgers. And, of course, no Austin Stevens night. He had a prior commitment. And no Mr. Bagwell, as he's under the weather a little bit, but he's starting to recoup. All right, Dave, let's go to, let me get to a couple of things first. Wednesday nights. I've always said this, and I'm fair to both. Wednesday nights, tomorrow night, 7 o'clock at Fun Point. If you're ready to play some trivia, Michael Heater will be hosting trivia at Fun Point at 7 o'clock tomorrow. Starts at 7 sharp. He's got a good trivia over there. If you can't get there, if you want to just play it twice in 1 week, Thursday night at the Downtown Grill, David Rodgers will be hosting trivia. David Rodgers will be hosting trivia there at 7:30 at the Downtown Grill. We always have fun over there, Dave. We always do some kind of card game. Always something going on at trivia night. So as long as I stay above, Dave, this sickness deal, trivia will go as scheduled on Thursday night. So Wednesday night at Fun Points with Michael Heater. Thursday night with David Rodgers at the Downtown Grill.
It's a blast.
It is a blast. Couple of things before we get to the weather. You ready to go to weather, Dave?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. How about let's do this, Dave? I've got it right here written. So I'm going to give you the weather for Bradford County and surrounding areas. Tonight, mostly cloudy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms this evening. Then partly cloudy after midnight. Lows in the mid-70s. South winds around 5 miles per hour this evening, becoming light and variable. Chance of rain, 50%. Wednesday, mostly sunny, a chance of showers in the morning, then showers and thunderstorms likely in the afternoon. Highs in the lower 90s. South winds around 5 miles per hour. Chance of rain, David, 70%.
Yeah.
We need it. We'll see. Wednesday night, partly cloudy. Now, I don't know what's going to happen in Ohio. This is just here, Dave. Partly cloudy. Showers and thunderstorms likely mainly in the evening. Lows in the mid-70s. South winds around 5 miles per hour. Chance of rain, 70% again. Thursday, sunny. A chance of showers in the morning. Then showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon. Highs again, David, in the mid-90s. Southwest winds, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Chance of rain, 80%. Are you catching these numbers? 70, 70, 80.
Yeah.
Looks like we may have that. How about that day, heat index value up to 106. How about that, huh? 106. Thursday night, partly cloudy. Showers with thunderstorms likely in the evening, and then a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms after midnight. Lows in the mid-70s. Southwest winds around 5 miles per hour in the evening, becoming light and variable. Chance of rain, 80%. You're seeing it. Friday, sunny, a chance of showers in the morning, then showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon. Highs in the mid-90s. Chance of rain, 80% again. Heat index, up to 105. Friday night, mostly cloudy, showers and thunderstorms mainly in the evening, lows in the mid-70s, chance of rain 80%. Saturday, mostly sunny, a chance of showers and thunderstorms in the morning, then showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon. Highs in the mid-90s, chance of rain 90%, heat index values up to 105. And then Saturday night, mostly cloudy, showers and thunderstorms mainly in the evening, lows in the mid-70s, chance of rain that night or that evening 90%. So going to get some afternoon showers. Mitchell, need it. It's really dry. Every time it rains, I sit on low-lying land. And I tell you, generally when we get a good rain, man, it just puddles there. It looks like lakes in my backyard. Every time we get a rain now, Mitchell, it just soaks it up. Man, I could mow the following day, and that's unusual for where I live. That's crazy. So anyway, that's your weather report right here. Welcome in again. We're going to let's take a quick commercial break, Dave, and then I'm going to bring Mitchell in, and we're going to talk about a couple of things. I'm going to talk about how the Trump assassination attempt unfolded in Butler, Pennsylvania, and much more. I know you've got a lot of questions. We're going to try to give you a lot of answers. I'm going to call Byron Bagwell, and I'm going to see if I can get him on the horn, and then he can join us, and then he can put in his 2 cents as well as what he thought. But I'm wanting to hear from you. I want to hear what you think. Again, this is a freedom of speech show, David. Give us your opinion.
Yeah.
Hey, as long as it's tasteful and clean, we'll read it, and we'll try to answer it. I don't care if you're a Republican, Democrat, Independent, whatever. Whatever your thought, whatever your ideologies are, whatever you think happened this past weekend. You don't even have to talk about this win. If you want to talk about what's happening at the Republican National Convention, you can. You can talk about the Democratic National Convention. I really don't care. This show is your show. We're just here. We're guiding the vessel, as we always say, and we'll be right back to continue this show after we pay some bills with this commercial break.
Hey Tornado fans, this is Kurt Miracle of Miracle Automotive and Towing, proud sponsors of Tornado Football. I want to welcome you to beautiful Stark, Florida at David Hurst Stadium, and thank you for letting us be a part of this community. We're here for more than your automotive and towing needs. We're here to be part of Tornado Country. Go Big Red!
No sound. Dwight Allen says no sound. Jeff Riggins, welcome into the show. We're back on. We're back with some audio and some video. Got a lot to talk about, but I want to bring Mitchell in because we're trying to reach out to all the candidates. It doesn't matter what office you're running for. Doesn't even matter what party you're running with, Mitchell. Hey, we just want to reach out to you. This is your chance and your way to get on and speak about your candidacy. Speak about your campaign, how those are going. This is the show to do it on the spot with David Rodgers. All you got to do is either hit me by messenger, hit me on Facebook, hit me if you got my phone number with a text. But the easiest way is to go to on the spot 32091 at gmail.com. We check those emails. So again, that's on the spot 32091 at gmail.com. You can hit Dave up. You can even hit Mitchell up. Even though Mitchell's running for office, we're going to be talking about that here in a minute. Mitchell forwards all his messages. So please feel free to send any of us a message. If you're interested in running for any office, please hit us up. You get your chance. Hey, primaries are coming up, Mitchell. General elections coming up, what, about 130 days or so, give or take. in November. So this is your chance to get on here and speak your piece, speak what you're all about, and reach out to your to the viewers here of On the Spot with David Rodgers and your constituents and possibly the voters who's going to be voting for you. And I want to stress that really, really quick. You need to get out and vote.
Yes.
This is a very, very, not only our local elections and our state elections, but our national election. You need to get out there and vote. If you want change, the way to do it is you got to get out there and vote for the candidate that you think is going to do right by you. Basically the American people, Mitchell. I mean, that's what we all are. We are the American people. We are the backbone of this country. And they should be working for us as many times as you and Byron has said this, and Dave. They're working for us. We don't work for them, brother. They work for us, and they need to stand up and do their job. And just a little bit to get into the convention last night. Did you watch some of that?
I watched a little bit of it, David.
I'm going to tell you right now, it was really good. They stuck on point. It was about wealth, bringing, wealth back into to the American people. All the speakers stuck on point. It was a really, really good convention opening night. And Donald Trump made an appearance, had that bandage on his ear. He said it's probably going to be off before he speaks on Thursday, but really, really good. And J.D. Vance, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know how you feel. We'll get into that here in a minute after we talk about you, but I just want to preface people. It would have been my first choice, but, hey, I don't mind the choice.
Well, you got to look at it from this standpoint, David. Ohio is a battleground state. And to be able to have a senator as your VP is actually going to help speak volumes and also bring in votes from that state to try to swing people's minds that are sitting on the fence. So I think it's a really good move.
Mm-hmm.
Let
me ask something. Would he have been your first choice? Out of all the candidates, would he have been your first choice? I don't mind the choice.
I thought actually Tim Cruz was actually going to be the first choice.
Well, I thought so too, and I thought Rubio was up there too. I thought he had a chance at it.
He was, but I really thought Tim Cruz had the better shot. But DJ Vance, I mean, he's a very young man. He's 39 years old, and he's accomplished a lot in a short life here on Earth. He really has, and he's a veteran, and he went to law school after coming back, and he's just kept his head down and kept on working, and hey, now here's a possibility of him being the vice president.
How about this, Dave? Listen to this. This is my buddy Sarge, who I work with. By the way, welcome in Eddie Sigmund, Liz Tillery Holland, and my buddy Sarge just told me this. Just want to support one of my favorite YouTubers, Matt from Demolition Ranch. He's getting a lot of flack because the shooter was wearing one of his shirts. He shouldn't be getting any flack. Yeah, man, he didn't tell that boy how to dress.
No.
Right.
He didn't tell him to wear his shirt. Yeah, he shouldn't be getting flack. But, people are looking to point fingers. Bap, 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 bap. Anything that they can find, anything that they can see. They're ready to point fingers. And I'm telling you right now, man, if that guy is getting flack about that, that is really chintzy and really petty of the American people. And it's probably coming from the left, I can assure you of that. I mean, I didn't. Would you have said anything about the guy's shirt?
So are you going to stop going to the Chicago Bulls basketball games because if the shooter was wearing the Chicago Bulls?
Yeah, how about that? Are you going to quit buying their merchandise?
Right.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Shirley said, yeah, that's exactly right. Very petty. Sarge, I'm sorry about that, man. I know you follow him, and that guy shouldn't be getting no flack. And really, he should need to go out there and stick up for himself. I'm sure he is. But, hey, when you get out there and you start putting your face out there, Mitchell, you start talking about things, man, that's when they seem to bombard you.
Right.
You're the little bug here, and then 50,000 bugs just want to jump on you and swallow you up. So, anyway, that is just absolutely, of course it's from the left, he said. For sure it is. Anyway, want to talk to Mitchell Gunner here a little bit, and I'm going to let him, after I do a little introduction. Mitchell Gunner is running for Bradford School Board District 4. His slogan, his campaign is investing in our children's future. And this is his, what do you call this, Mitchell? What is that?
That is a rat card.
A rat, okay, yeah, there you go. It's got his picture on there. You borrowed my tie, Mitchell. You borrowed my tie. David, he borrowed my tie here.
Maybe you just got one that looks like mine.
Maybe so. Maybe it is. Okay. I thought about wearing a tie tonight, but I didn't call you to tell you so. But anyway, investing in our children's future, on the spot with David Rodgers and on the spot Motorsports Media fully endorsed Mitchell Gunner as he's running for school board and his candidacy. Just want to go over a few things and then Mitchell can elaborate more. He is running for Bradford School Board District 4 here in Bradford County. Let me just get into a little bit of his educational background. He's a 1994 graduate of Bradford High School, 1999 graduate of Santa Fe College. He went to school for electrical construction, 2004 Emergency Management Institute, ESF, and NIMS. His work experience, he's been an electrical foreman with the itty bitty earthworms, is all I like to call it. I used to play on a little baseball team back Little League, IBEW, and Mitchell, tell them what IBEW stands for.
International Brotherhood of Electrical
Workers. But they used to call us itty bitty earthworms. That's what I know. But anyway, Coolest had 1205, maintenance superintendent from DOC, Alachua County Facilities Management, and he's currently employed with the 8th Judicial Circuit of Florida. So, community involvement, volunteered with both the North Florida Chamber of Commerce and Downtown Merchants event, improved dangerous intersections in our county with state leaders, and involved in many, many fundraisers. And I can add on to this, I can pile on to this. He gets involved with the community just more than that. He does car shows, community car show events. He's at all the festivals. He does different things within the community. He just gave you a little brief description right here, but there's many and many and many much more things that Mitchell is involved in. He, as your school board member, and I'll let him get into this a little bit, he says he will honor students joining the armed forces, find ways to fund art and other school programs, protect female athletes from male participating in their sports, make sure their schools are receiving accurate maintenance and repair, as well as having an open door policy with respect to the taxpayers. You're going to vote on August the 20th, 2024. He's got his phone number down there. I'm sure if you reach out to Mitchell, he'll give you one of these. Mitchell, welcome to the show. Got into this a little bit. I know what you do with On the Spot with David Rodgers and On the Spot Motorsports Media, a page that we created because cars and racing, NHR, any kind of racing is really big and all over the world. Oh, yeah. And that's why we created that. You can tell by your followers, 14,700 followers, and they watch that show religiously. Anytime you go and do an event, they watch it religiously. But let's back off of that a little bit, because not only you do that and you race cars as well, but this is something very important, something very near and dear to your heart. You've talked to me, David, and Byron about this, along with others, and you felt like you needed to run for school board. Let me ask this. Why now? Why did you choose to go ahead and run for school board? And by the way, you have two other candidates, Dana Bell and, of course, the incumbent, which is Candace Osteen. So what made you decide to run now? Is it something that you're seeing? Is it change? Is a little of all of it?
It's a little bit of concern, actually, from the voters that led me to actually throw my hat in the ring to run for the office. Some of it's funding issues for teachers, talking with them, especially when you look down at your kindergarten and first grade classes. Those teachers don't have assistants like they used to, and it's really hard for the teacher to be educating and try to take care of the small little problems going on in their classroom. So I actually have a plan, especially for like Stark Elementary, how their classes are grouped in fours. There's a possibility of trying to bring in a staff member for all four of those teachers. There's also a chance to...
Go ahead, Mitchell. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to get Byron on that.
Also a chance to do the same thing at our new school, which is totally awesome. Just a beautiful facility Bradford Elementary is. And, there's rumors are coming up, if you read the paper, of possibly a new high school being built, and I would like to be involved in that. I think it's very, very important to have people that understands what's going on.
Well, no Byron Bagwell on the phone just yet, but that's all right. We'll get him here in a minute.
But, I think it's very important to be involved and understand how the construction project goes on, also all the way down from the user group to the engineers and who's going to be running that project, and also use my experience to make sure that there's no shortcuts or extra costs that gets called, put on after the fact and change orders, so that will cost the taxpayers even more money.
I.e., can I bring up a little something? The fire
Sure.
station? Oh,
Yeah,
that's what you're talking about. You remember you always talked about change orders and things that should have
Right.
been caught up front.
I mean, you're always going to have
You're
some
gonna have
change orders.
something,
I
yeah.
mean, you're always going to have a little bit,
Some of that was a
but you
little
want to
overboard.
try to limit that. Other things, that I've talked to parents about that we're still having issues in our school, and that's with bullying. I actually talked to several parents and grandparents who are raising their children, and bullying is still a real factor going on. There's different ways to handle that. First, you have to come up with a plan to start tackling it on early in elementary school and kindergarten and first grade and second grade, to keep that picking from happening.
Right.
And as you get up in sixth grade all the way up to senior high, you have responsibility of not doing that to another student.
Right.
And I believe there should be a 3 strikes you're out type of deal.
Right.
Because
Is that an agenda that you're going to push?
I would like to have something in the policy like that.
Yeah, right.
Because I have came across some of these parents. They have reached out to the teachers and some of the staff into the school, and their child didn't get any help.
Right.
There's one incident I don't want to really get into too much, but a student was being messed with. That student had talked to the teacher, the principal, and got others involved with the school board. The incident kept on happening. The student got mad, got up, hit the other student. The student that was doing the action, nothing was happened to him. The one who defended themselves, ended up getting suspended 3 days from school. And when that student came back, they were moved to another classroom. And that right there, you just traumatized that student, because now they don't feel like they can go to an adult and ask for help. And so they're going to back off from reaching out. And then you take the other student, you're not correcting the bad behavior. So later on, that student's going to think, well, I can get away with more and more as I go on. I didn't get in trouble for this.
Right.
And
He's going to continue his bullying.
Right. You've got to come up with a way to cut that off. You look at kids that are being bullied. There's a couple of outcomes that usually happen. One, they commit suicide.
Mm-hmm. You hear a lot of that.
2, they get fed up with it. They bring a firearm to school and they take care of the people who bullied them and the staff that did not help them.
Right.
And 3, they just pull away from society.
Yep.
And they never regain or traction, and it becomes mental illness that sets in. We cannot
They become hermits. Really, they become hermits.
You can't do that kind of stuff with these students. You got to
Right.
stand up for them and do the right thing and correct the other students' aggression to others, to let them know that it's not right to do.
Right. And you're exactly right, Mitchell. And, bullying, I was going to, you hit exactly my point that I was going to make is Mitchell hit the 3 things that could possibly happen when you're bullied in school. And this guy that took a pop shot at President Trump right there, I called it a pop shot because it grazed his ear, but it could have killed him if he'd have turned his head just a little bit. That was heading for his temple. But hey, you start looking back at the background of these shooters, whatever it is, the assassination of President Trump, the school shootings that you were talking about, the major thing that you hear was they were bullied,
Right.
They were loners because they were bullied. They sat at the lunch table by themselves, no interaction with any other kids or teachers or anything like that. They were pretty much loners. And then, like you said, they snap and boom. That's when those weapons come in, and they usually take it out on the students.
And David, and a lot of them, they don't care if they get shot or killed because
No.
they feel like they're useless
Yep.
to society.
Yep.
And we can't do that. Another thing I would like to try to do, of course I say try because it doesn't just take me, it takes the other 4 board members that are sitting in there, is to bring in some more funding for ESE students.
Yep.
That money is federal money. Over the years, I've got to know Kat Kamek very, very well, and that would be
Great
my
friend
resource.
of the shows, by the
Yeah.
way. Yeah, she's friend of all of us. Especially.
That would be my resource to reach out to her and Rick Scott to try to funnel in more money. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but if you take kids that have dyslexia, okay, you got 63 counties in the state of Florida. So all these counties take all these kids' names, they put them in a pot, they go up to Department of Education. Department of Education pulls out who will get their texts and stuff read to them on test, either by a person, but more likely it will be done by a computer. Well, here in Bradford County, out of all the students that gets put in that pool, only 1 or 2 of them gets picked. You take Jacksonville, they get a little bit more because they're a larger county.
Sure.
But you have to look at the big side of things of how many students are being left behind. And and technology has came a long way, David. We got a lot of computers
Yes.
in our school, and and if we can use government money coming in for ESE programs, we can better help kids that are dyslexic, either in ELA or in mathematics, because there's several different types of forms of dyslexia, and so that's one of the things that I would like to do and reach out to our local leaders, not just to help the state of Florida, because that federal money goes all over to all 50 states of our nation.
Right.
And we need to increase that and not leave these children behind, because these children are bright. They just read and see numbers totally different than what we do.
Yeah.
But they're still very bright kids.
You're right. Mitchell Gunner joining us here. He is the host of On the Spot Motorsports Media, our sister page. It's really a diverse page. We're both together. But anyway, he's running for school board, District 4. I want to read just a couple of the comments, Mitchell. Then I want to ask you about something. And I don't know if I've ever asked you this question, but I'm going to. You can answer it as best as you can. Good luck, Mitchell Gunner. Wish I could vote for you, brother. I support J.D. Vance 100%. What that young man has overcome in his life and what he has achieved is so impressive. He has survived everything that should have destroyed him and what would have made most people throw in the towel before they even got into the ring. He overcame and then those obstacles and worked hard to become who is today. If you hadn't seen Hillbilly Elegy, you need to read the book or you need to watch the movie. I actually watched the movie. I'm telling you, it was really good. Glenn Close plays his grandmother. It was really, really good. Well done. I haven't read the book yet, Mitchell, but like I said, it wasn't my first choice, but I am, after hearing you speak last night, I'm all right with the choice. You know what I'm saying? I will call you back, Byron. We're just going to get to a break here. Parents need to raise their kids better instead of letting them run wild and face no consequences.
Well, that is a problem that we have nowadays. And, the sad thing is some parents, they use the school system as their babysitter.
Yep.
And, the school system's not there to babysit kids. The school system's there to educate them, to make them better, to become good citizens when they graduate school. And by talking about graduating, another thing that we need to look at, and I will be willing to work with our vocational college, is to try to bring some of those trades back in and try to work with these students that are not going to be college bound, but we can get them in those programs. They can have certificates by the time they graduate high school and go into a job making really good money instead of minimum wage. And if you look around the nation, Actually, all you have to do is really look over in Gainesville, Florida, at how much Gainesville has grown over the past couple of years, and it's still growing. You go by construction sites, it's either immigrants working
Yep.
or really old people that are working on the jobs. There's not very many young Americans that are working on the job, and we have became lazy. You know, we have
Yeah.
become a lazy nation, and we got to set these kids up for skills that's going to land them great jobs, you know, for their future. You know, go ahead and get into working with your state and local government. Going ahead and starting your retirement at the age of 18, 19 years of age, and man, in 30 years you're done. And guess what? You can start another
Another one.
retirement
Yes.
somewhere else, or you can.
I wish I had thought about that when I turned 36
exactly.
in the military. I would have retired.
Yeah, and I feel the same thing. I wish I'd have done all my time in active duty. Now, I did finish my time in the reserves, but I wish I'd have just done it like Mitchell said, active duty, been done with it, and worked on another retirement like I am right now. So it's just crazy how you think about these things after the fact. And then, you know, Mitchell and all of us is preaching to these kids, hey, man, if you're not going to go to college or the military, get you a trade, just like he said.
Absolutely.
We got to have them, Mitchell. We got to have these people.
Or who's going to build our buildings?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing. You know, we have to do that. We
The
have
immigrants are right now.
we have to get kids,
Yeah.
you know, out of these video games, and instead of using their hands on controllers, using their hands to build stuff, to become brighter. And you know, you brought up something that was very important that touches my heart, and that is people who serve in our military. And don't get me wrong, I love our athletes here at Bradford High.
Absolutely.
In the middle school and what they do, and they're getting scholarships and all that to move on these colleges. But I would just like us to have a signing day like for these kids going into the military, where we have a table there and we have the branches of
Great
military
idea.
with
Yeah.
hats sitting on the table, and they grab the hat of the branch that they're going to go in. Because,
I like that.
you know, these men and women that go into service, they should be honored too, because we don't know what's going to happen after they get done with basic and AIT, and they go work over abroad on the base, or even on bases here in the United States.
Yeah.
They can get killed.
Yeah.
You know, they'll die for our country.
Yep.
And so we need to honor them. That's also very important to me.
Anybody, and I'm glad you mentioned that. Anybody, and Dave, me and you talked about this a couple of shows ago. I don't know if Mitchell was on that particular show, but we talked about the military and our time in it.
Yeah.
If, and yes, I know Joe Biden's in charge right now. I know he's the executive officer. I get all that. But if somebody was to call me today and say, I need you back in the military, I'm going to say, well, I'm a 62-year-old man. I don't know what I can do for you. But you know what? I'd go back today and defend it like it was when I was 20.
Absolutely.
I know you would too. Hey, what do you need me to do? Push paper? You need me to pay the people? What do you need me to do? I would go back right now. You know why? Because I know him, Byron, you, and anybody that's watching, that's a red-blooded American here, loves this country and will do anything for it. I assure you they would die for this country. And you know what? Like Mitchell said, there's people out there, though, that really don't care. This country, screw this country. You know what? We can get you a one-way ticket out of here. I'd be willing to pay for it. We'll all put some money in, and we'll get your one-way ass out of here.
Live in this country, enjoy all the freedom and the luxury that this country allows you to have, and then you talk bad about it?
Yeah. That is a bunch of garbage. That right there. That infuriates me more than anything.
I can say something more.
Oh, I could say
No,
something more too, and I know he could, and I'm glad I ain't got Byron on the phone right now, because I can assure you he would say something more.
So, Mitchell,
Yeah, pleasure.
how old were you when you first started working?
No,
I
that's
was
a good
I
question.
was actually still in high school. I was in my out of my sophomore year. I started working with Bill Preston Electric. I worked with him that summer. I went back to school. Of course, I had scholarship offers to go to colleges to run track, and just didn't pan out. So I ended up going back to Bill Preston Electric, working there. Had my college paid with them to go to Santa Fe College to graduate.
Yeah.
And so I used that opportunity to do that. But I started out young. And actually, tell you the truth, you can ask my dad, I actually started out younger than that. When I was probably about 10 years old, I was helping him.
Mow grass.
No, we were rewiring houses.
When did he start mowing? Did you help him mow any grass?
He didn't start mowing until after he retired. But we started. He rewired houses. So I was the guinea pig. I'm the one that went up underneath the house and pulled the wire across and feed it up.
Yeah, you should have done that, man. You didn't have the pops to do that. You
tiny guy, you know, he's got to get under there.
So actually, I had been doing electrical work probably ever since I was 10 years old. But
so Mitchell, on a personal note, how's your dad doing?
He is doing great.
That's a great question.
Doing really good. They're going to watch the show later because they're actually at my brother's right now watching Brody race up there in Charlotte.
Oh, that's right. He's right.
So
good luck, Brody, by the way. I know you can't hear it, man, but if they're out there listening, good luck, Brody. Man, he is kicking some tail here recently, so need to keep him rolling, man.
Yeah, so they're watching the race at my brother's house. That's up there in Charlotte.
Well,
so.
you got a real active family around you, including yourself.
Yeah.
I don't see how you can even start to campaign because you seem to be doing everything.
You have to.
Where's the hours at?
You have to budget time for everything. You know, you look at it. You can sit in a chair for 2 hours and watch TV, or you can pick that 2 hours and you can use it wisely for something else.
You mean like I saw you the other day walking house to house, campaigning?
And guess what? Guess what? He ain't done. He's still doing it.
Yeah.
I've been probably
Still gonna run a show too and race.
He's
I've been
not a
to
quitter.
350 houses, something like that.
Yeah.
Before I ask you this question, Mitchell, I got a real important question, and I've seen it, and I've just been thinking about it, and I want to see how Mitchell answers it. But I want to get to some of the comments here. Let's see. Yep. I'll call you back here in a minute, Byron. Parents need to raise their kids. We got into that. Great point, Mitchell. Students should be able to defend themselves, the Sarge said. Wow, what do you feel about that? That is a great point that Sarge brings up there. Students should be able to defend themselves. Here's the problem.
The problem is the administrator or the teacher of the classroom is not going to know who actually
started it.
Instigated it.
Yeah.
Then that's the whole major thing.
Yeah.
The only way to find out about the bullying going on, I don't know if I want to open up that can of worms or not, and you know,
don't have to get into-
I would like other feedback from our teachers before I say that.
Correct.
But if there is possibility of bullying going on in the classroom, could we have a camera system that can catch the action and make sure that particular problem is going on before we move forward on disciplinary actions on that kid that's doing it? You know, a portable type setup that can be put in there. You know, it wouldn't be a gotcha like that for administration.
Almost like a body cam type deal, right? Almost sort of to that. Yeah.
Kind of sort of to that, to just try to correct that behavior.
Yeah.
It would only be, you know, say, you know, the classes are changing and stuff like that.
I got you.
And if it's occurring pretty much in that one class, you know, that one period, that camera would be set up in there to see what's going on, to try to catch it, and then after that period, that classroom, that camera comes out. You know,
I agree. Okay, yeah.
Well, here's the, I don't know what you call it, but if you don't watch or see the bullying, then you really don't know, and who's talking about it, you know? I mean, if you're being the one being bullied, you're afraid to talk about it because the buller
It's going to come for you.
come back and bully me again.
Well, or if you witness it, here's a lot of account, and I think Mitchell will agree with this. Let's say we're at the lunchroom. You see these two guys bullying this guy, trying to take his lunch. You've got other kids around that are seeing this. But they're not saying anything. They're not opening their mouths. They're not telling
Because they're
anybody.
afraid they're gonna be the
because
next
they're
victim.
afraid they're going to be the next victim.
Yeah.
That is the problem. You see how that revolving door goes, or that circle goes? And that's really a shame that you cannot tell somebody because you're worried about the repercussions that's going to happen to you. And if they don't get you at school, guess what? They're going to get you outside of school. And that's the problem.
There are some people I know in school, I was kind of one of them, that did not like people that bully people.
Oh, no, I was with them.
And it was obvious I didn't like it. Nobody really messed with me.
Would you protect the people that were getting
I
bullied?
absolutely have got in the middle of that. You know, when you got a younger, more weaker individual, frail, and this one other person that's, you know, a little bigger, a little stronger, a little
Right.
more boastful.
Mm-hmm. Well, Dwight Allen brings up something, and I know you told me you got this. I don't know if Mitchell ever got it. I got the Board of Education. Absolutely, I did. And let me tell you, I got it one time, and I didn't go back to visit it no more. I got 4 good swats with a paddle that was about that long, and it had 40 holes in it. And that daggum PE teacher, right in front of the principal, excuse my French, lit my ass up. I mean, I was 160 pounds soaking wet, and he brought me up off the floor. You know what? You know what I said? I'm just like any other kid. I'm going to go home and tell my dad that you just paddled me. You know what? Let's call your dad right now. Let's call your mom right now. You know what my dad said? Give him 4 more. And then, when you get home, I'm going to tell you to tail up some more.
Ow.
Yeah, that right there. I agree with you, Dwight Allen, but you can't do that. Times have changed. That's never going to
The
happen.
guy in school that was behind that paddle, to me, was like 10, 12 feet tall. You know? I mean, he was a big guy. Even for natural standard people, he was big.
Yeah, he was big.
And he sounded really
Yeah.
mean.
I don't know if y'all remember Dr. Ezel, but Dr. Ezel was assistant principal at the middle school when I was there, and he gave me some licks, and I laughed.
Uh-oh.
That was a bad mistake.
That was a bad mistake.
Because
that was a bad mistake.
Because the next one was a little
Little
more, had a little more heat.
Heat
in
to
it.
it?
Yeah.
How many licks did you get? 2?
I got 4.
You got 4 too?
Yeah.
Because I got
Yeah.
3 and I laughed. So he gave me one more to think about things.
Yeah, my guy, I mean, he was like Andre the Giant taking a whack at you.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. That's what it looked like to us back then.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But you know what was worse? If you don't mind me,
No, go ahead.
my mom was a disciplinarian. I'd rather get a paddle from my teacher than I would discipline from my mom.
See, back then they would call your parents, and the parents said, hey, where's tail out some more? And then guess what? When you got home, that was the worst part for me. Oh, boy. Got to go home.
You get it twice.
Yep. Dad's going to tear my tail up. Mom's going to... And Mom, my mom would scold me. My mom would make me feel like this big. You know what I mean? About that big. You know, you should have done that, you know. And she would get that little Spanish accent that she had and give it to me, and I'd feel about this big. And then when Dad got home, hey, get in here, boy. I'm fixing to tear that tail up again.
Yeah, Mom
So you-
said, if Mom said, I'm telling your dad, that was more of an OS.
Oh, yep. Yep, you're right. And
But I made the mistake one time, Mom giving me the opportunity to picking my switch out.
Oh, I've been there, done that.
oh, I've done that too.
I got one that looked like a bat. And she's like, oh, no. She went out and got one that looked like a whip.
Where it stands through the air.
That hurt.
Oh, yeah.
And don't try to put 2 or 3 pair of underwear
You
on.
thought you was getting whipped by a CB antenna, didn't you?
Yeah, CB antenna back in the day. Shirley Bagwell said, our education system needs so much improvement. Funds is a major problem. Yeah, funds used to be designated specifically for media specialists. Apparently that is no longer true.
Yeah, and
what is more important than reading? And I'll agree, besides probably math, right? Reading and math. And you got to spell. You got to be able to spell because you got to be able to write. So I think.
Well, you know, one thing I think the Florida Board of Education should do is bring back cursive writing for these kids. These kids, when they can't even sign their check. I mean, when they graduate school, they don't even know how to sign their check.
Now the computer industry is here. You can type it in. Why write it?
Well, see, that's the whole key right there. The technology. I sort of disagree, and I agree with you too. See, technology has come such a long way from when we were going to school.
Yeah.
You know, you type now on a computer. When I went to typing class, it was click, 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 click. A typewriter. You ask a kid what a typewriter is nowadays?
They'll look at you like you're crazy.
What? A typewriter? That's ancient. Yeah, I can show you one. You want to try to type on it?
I wish I had mine.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Show them the ribbon.
The ribbon? Yeah, oh, yeah. Change that. Why don't you do that?
Hey, man, I'm walking down the street. I got a typewriter on my hip.
You know what we're doing?
What's that?
We're telling everybody how old we are.
Yes, we are, yeah. But, hey, I think the guys and gals that we got on here probably would show their age, too, because of their comments.
They're relating to it.
So, Dwight Allen said, seems like passing a test is more important than learning skills that would help you in life.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I would use that seat for is that would be my pedestal to reach out to Chuck Brannon and talk to him because, you know, a lot of things need to be recorrected with the Department of Revenue that is coming out, and that is one of the things that we need to get back a little bit to our basics.
Right.
Of how to do things, because you know you go on a college campus, they can't even tell you the 3 branches of government. They can't even tell you the 5 oceans.
No,
and or name even half the capitals.
no way, no. I guarantee you that.
And it's because we got so far away from that we're too busy on these tests. And the reason why is I understand why we have to concentrate on this test. That's what helps teachers get their pay increases and the school extra funding coming in. But you know, my thing is, why couldn't we just do that with the report card? Why couldn't we not just take the student's report card and look at it like that? Because also, I think it punishes our teachers as well if there's not a good if the kid goes home and he doesn't have or she doesn't have the help that she needs or he needs, and they can't make those grades, and that punishes the teacher when it comes to those tests.
Oh, absolutely.
And so I think you know, some of that needs to be changed. And you look at the curriculum for the math and elementary school, they got to draw these charts out, and they got to have so many circles and so many boxes to add to this, to add to that, instead of just taking numbers and adding them and subtracting them together. It's plumb chaos. If I came up there to you at McDonald's and the cash register's not working, but you're able to take money.
Yeah, well, they would take cash.
And I tell you, well, I want 3 cheeseburgers, and I want 4 fries, and I want 4 Cokes.
Right.
And you have to draw them out, all these squares, and how much they are, and you got to add them up. I'm not going to sit there and wait on you.
No.
I'm going to drive off.
Sure you are.
And so we need to start getting back in the way that math is taught. And I tell you, a lot of parents are having trouble helping their kids because of the curriculum that DOE has handed down to us. It's not our school system that is doing it. It's the Department of Education that is doing it. So we have to get our state leaders on board, either the representatives or state senators, to put pressure on DOE to make some of these changes.
Scott Money said, we decided to homeschool our kids when we lived in Georgia. The school pushed the kids way past their limits for extra state funding and took the fun out of learning away from the kids. I sort of agree with that. Byron, boys have never been taught correctly. You take a type A personality that has all this energy and ask them to sit still for 50 minutes, and that will go against nature. Absolutely. Dwight said, amen, Mitchell. Shirley said, thank you, Mitchell, for saying that about our military. The school, here's Liz Tillery Holland, and I agree. The school policy is zero tolerance on bullying, but rarely holding the bullies accountable. especially if the bully is so-called a star athlete. That makes perfect sense. Now, I don't know how often that happens, but even still, even if he's not a star athlete, the problem is, you spot the problem, Mitchell. You know you got a bully.
Well,
you take it to the proper channels, the proper authorities, and then guess what? The following day, you see this kid at school, and he's doing the same damn thing. Or darn thing, excuse me.
Right. Well, you know, what she's talking on right there is one thing that we need to concentrate on as well, because we want these young athletes to go to college and do very well. But if we don't correct behavior in school, they may end up just like a couple of players on the Georgia Bulldogs that have got arrested here in the recent couple of weeks for doing things they shouldn't be doing.
One of them was an ex-Florida player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to correct the behavior while they're in school when they do something wrong, to make them understand what they're doing is wrong so they can prosper when they go into college.
Right.
We want these kids to go into college. We want them to, playing football is a good thing, but we want them to become educated, because those are the people that's going to take care of us older folks as we get older. Their tax base is going to help us on Social Security. You know what I'm saying? And if so, we want them to do well.
1% of football players make the NFL. That's not very much.
No,
1%.
it is not.
You better have your education, or like you said, something to fall back on. Julia, let's see. Okay, yeah, Julia Antonio Brown said, yeah. Babinion said, yep, 100%. Dwight said, or related to the people. I agree with that. I know there's some of that. Benny Jackson's watching. Alice Banks, I don't like politics. Yeah, I have my reasons. Imagine. Olivia Hill's watching. Michael Box is watching. I hope Trump gets rid of the Department of Education, since it's such a waste of taxpayers' money. Comes from Dwight Allen. It's pretty bad when the teacher has to go him and lean on her to teach the kids how to do the math. Yeah, I agree, and lean on that. Yeah, I agree. You're right. Tests are useful, but not the definitive answer. Give teachers a right to be teachers who are allowed to make decisions about their individual students. Olivia, thank you. David, you look good. Thank you. I got a lot of gray hair. I don't know about looking good, but hey, I'm trying my best.
Well, one other thing that we need to bring back in our school system is art. Because I'm going to tell you, art is a way for a child to express him or herself through drawing or pottery. I had that when I was in high school and absolutely loved the classes. Absolutely loved it. It was a stress reliever, you know, to go from regular academic classes. I'm not saying that art isn't, but it plays a different role for students. They can be more themselves. You know, you can take and put an apple on the table and say, draw this apple to 30 students. All 30 students are going to draw that apple differently because they all see it in a different way. And so those type of things are important, and I think it will also relieve a lot of stress with these students trying to prepare for tests.
Again, Mitchell Gunner here with us. I got one final question for Mitchell, and then I want to move on to this Trump thing, what happened over the weekend. Republican National Convention going on right now. Got a lot of speakers, got a lot of topics they're going to be talking about tonight. Please start bringing in your comments, any questions that you have. But let Mitchell Gunner, we're endorsing him. I know he's got a lot of endorsement from other folks. Bradford School Board District 4, you see it right there on the right-hand side. Mitchell, I want to ask you one last and final question, and this one is a toughie. I know you've talked about this before. What if you're elected? Can parents that are willing, and it doesn't matter if they're willing or not, I personally think that God needs to be brought back into schools. Where do you stand on that, and what will you do to help bring God back into schools? And I'm talking about prayer, and how about the pledge every day, the things that America is all about.
Well, those things are happening in our school. They do the pledge, and they do prayer around the flagpole. You know, it's open for students to participate if they want to participate. So that's very important. But one thing I wanted to hit on before we get done, and this is one thing that may turn some people away from voting for me, but that's all right. But I'm a Republican. I've served on the Bradford County Republican Board for, I guess, probably about 8 years, maybe even longer, but I'm pretty sure it's 8 years. And I will not be voting to get rid of Charter Chapter 9 out of our school system. Females should be able to play their sports without males coming into their programs.
Yeah, you had that
because
on
you know, I give you a prime example, David. I went to a lady's house, and me and her, we were talking, and she's like, "Well, I think if males say that they are female, they should be able to participate in sports." I said, "Well, let me give you a prime example real fast. Your daughter's been playing basketball ever since she was 6 years old, and she has played center. She is now fixing to go her senior year of high school, and she's got colleges looking after her. Family moves in out of state or moves over from another county. They got a young man that's transgender, and he plays basketball. He's a center. What do you think's going to happen to your daughter?" She goes, "I don't know." I said, "She's going to ride the bench."
Yes, she is.
Because he's
Or
going
get to move to another position.
he's going to be taller. He's going to be faster. He's going to be stronger. No matter if he does recognize himself as a female. And another thing I will do, when we get agendas passed down to us from the Florida Board of Education, we have to determine what curriculum that we want to go toward. I'm going to go to one that's not woke. I can tell you that right now. I want to keep wokeness out of our school system. It's not a problem now.
No.
As much, and we do not have a problem with males participating in female sports. But that time is coming up, and it's coming up soon, because it's already reaching Alachua County, and Alachua County has already been talking about letting males participate in female sports and letting males use the women's restrooms at their schools.
That I don't agree with.
So that's the type of things that I want to keep out of our school system. I want to preserve it for those female athletes. And the same thing, I don't think a female should participate in male sports, because once again, she may identify herself as a male, and she wants to go play baseball instead of softball. And she gets trucked. Say she's going to play, she's going to be the catcher.
Catcher, yeah.
And she gets trucked. She's going to be hurt pretty bad when a 200-pound, 6-foot guy comes trucking through there to home plate, and here she is, 5'3", 5'5".
Yeah.
She's going to get
125, 130.
Yeah, she's going to get creamed. So it's about also a safety thing of keeping these kids safe as
Absolutely.
well.
Absolutely. Again, Mitchell Gunner joining us. He's going to stick around. We're looking at, Dave, we're on the 8:22 hour Eastern time right here in beautiful Stark, Florida. Mitchell Gunner was my guest. If you live in District 4 and you want a good candidate to represent you at the Bradford County School Board, vote Mitchell Gunner right here.
And I will not vote on anything, not unless my constituents want me to vote that way. There's been plenty of times, and you can look at the minutes from the board meetings, and there's a lot of 5-0 votes. A lot. I'm not saying all of them are bad, but there's a lot of 5-0 votes. And to me, the constituents of my district and some others are not being represented in the way that they're supposed to be. Because I am supposed to work for the people that put me in office, and not whoever becomes a superintendent.
And Dwight, we're fixing to get into that. Again, vote Mitchell Gunner. We'll have him back on the show here. He'll probably help me host, or Byron help Byron host. Anyway, if you live in District 4, vote for Mitchell Gunner for school board. David, I want to get into this deal that happened this past weekend. We dodged a major bullet here in our country, but I want to do that after we take these commercial breaks, David. David, do we have something we can sit this on?
Michael.
Welcome back to On the Spot with David Rodgers. I am your host, David Rodgers, right along with Mitchell Gunner. I've got Mr. Byron Bagwell on the phone. Byron, say hello to everybody.
Good evening, everybody. I am fresh off, well, I will be tomorrow morning, of another attempt at our wonderful Chinese allies trying to kill Americans.
There you go. How about that? And we're going to get into that here in just a little bit about some of the events that happened over the weekend. And I know that me and you've talked. Mitchell's joining us here. Dave is joining us as well. But I want to start off by saying, Byron, Mitchell, Dave, and anybody that's listening on this live feed, our nation dodged a major bullet, and I don't mean that. No pun intended there. Dodged a major bullet, but it's the truth. Because if Donald Trump would have turned any which way, and I'm just leading up to what I want to talk about, that bullet would have hit him in the temple. And I don't think that On the Spot with David Rodgers would be happening right now, because the rhetoric that would be happening in this country would be just out of hand. I think this would have started a civil war without a doubt. And people still aren't happy right now because we're not getting a lot of definitive answers from anybody that's doing these investigations. I know some things are coming out here or there. The head of the Secret Service says she's not stepping down. We've got a lot of things, Byron, a lot of questions that I have about this whole thing. And I want to give the timeline of how this unfolded. And I know people seen it many times. They're deciphering. They're trying to figure out what's going on. And I had many questions in regard to this of how, let me say, either two things. This was a big-time setup, or we got some incompetent people working in security details that are so very vital and very important to our country, and they don't know what the hell they're doing. That really scares me even more, Byron, than thinking that somebody, you know what I mean, has set this up. That right there really scares me as an American citizen.
Well, David, what I was going to start in with tonight, if I would have been able to make it, which of course I knew I wasn't, and you knew I wasn't going to be able to be there, with my segment is I was going to start in like this. There is something called MOA, and anybody that's had any experience with firearms knows what I'm talking about with that.
Yep.
It allows you to basically diagram an arc of how a bullet flies.
Right.
And depending on how you zero your rifle in, what ends up happening is it tells you exactly how that rifle is going to shoot at different yards. I can tell you my hunting rifle will zero back in from 236 yards zeroed back in. And I can pretty much tell you how high it's going to be at different places from the crosshair zero, from that chart that you can make up, or they have computer programs to do that now. That being said, I don't have any experience in security at all, but I can tell you this. If you put me on a building 136 yards away from somebody or something, I'm going to hit it.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
And I'm not a sniper. I'm just a person that's hunted all my life. Now, I do have some friends, and my father, who was in the military, that taught me how to shoot and instructed me on different shots at different yardage and how to control myself and how to breathe and do things like that. But if I can do that, and I can look at that building that's 136 yards away or 130 yards away or however far it wasn't very far, and not feel confident that I can hit something at that distance? Why on God's green earth is the force that's responsible for protecting presidents not making sure that building was secured? And don't want to hear anything that was left up to the local police. They're responsible for the presidents of the United States. That is one of two things to me. That is either gross incompetence coming from the top levels. I'm talking about the people that protected Trump on that stage. I'm talking about the people who made the decisions where to put them, what buildings to cover, and I'm also talking about the people that are higher than that, and I'm talking about the head of the Secret Service. She should step down, or our president should fire her.
Yes.
And if the person that's Homeland Security is actually in charge of the Secret Service now.
Yes.
If the head of the Homeland Security doesn't want to do that, he should go too. Because, number one, that is gross incompetence.
Yeah.
Number two, if it's not gross incompetence, what they did was they left that building open for an idiot to do what this guy did.
Thank you. Yep.
Which makes them duplicit in what they did.
Byron, I want to disagree with you a little bit, and that's what we love about each other, right, brother? We can tend to agree to disagree, right? So I want to talk about the shot that you just said. 130 yards. I'm with you. I am nailing whatever I'm shooting at. Now I want to say something. I want to say, and I firmly believe this, and this is God's intervention with President Trump. I believe that bullet strikes him if Donald Trump doesn't turn his head or moves that little bit. I think that guy makes that shot. And I don't want to take words out of your mouth. You're telling me that you're thinking that he just missed that shot?
No, David, I'm not telling you he missed that shot. I'm telling you that was divine intervention.
Okay, that's what I want people to understand, that me and you're on the same page. That was divine intervention.
But, David, I'm also not shooting at somebody's head at 130 yards with a sure shot. I'm shooting at the bigger mass.
Yeah, chest. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, David, I mean, look. Don was not a trained sniper. He obviously was mentally ill to do what he did in the first place. But at the same time, David, the problem is he never should have been on the top of that building in the first place.
Absolutely not.
And then when you add on top of it the fact that there was a police officer that saw him, the guy climbed up the ladder and pointed, and told him to get off of the building.
Yep.
The guy pointed an AR at the police officer.
Right.
Why in the world wasn't there all sort of comms activities going, shoot her on the roof, get the president off the stage?
Yeah.
Well, with the firearm pointed back at him, why in the world didn't he just pull out his .40?
Yeah, and just pop him several times right there.
Well, that is another question about that. If you didn't do it and you went back down, when you turned back around, why didn't you climb back up and shoot him? But that's hindsight's 20/20 when you're talking about that.
Yeah.
You have to. If you are a part of the security detail that plans for these things, you cannot leave a building that's 130 yards from a sitting president, a past president, or any other politician. That's inviting somebody to come do something stupid.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And there was people all over the ground, Byron. We've seen the videos. We've dissected them. We've all looked at them. Everybody's mad. Somebody's on the roof. There's a person on the roof. He's got a weapon. How long did this go for? They knew this 26 minutes before that even all occurred. Why did we not do anything within a 26-minute time span? Tell me.
David, it's the answer. There's one or two answers. It's either gross incompetence,
Yes.
or they let the guy up there on purpose. Now, I'm not saying that's what they did, but I can tell you appearances mean a lot.
Yep.
And in this society we live in, with all of the stuff that has been said about Donald Trump, how in the world can you expect anybody that's on his side not to have thoughts about the fact that they either let this happen or they actually instigated this to happen?
Yep. And you're exactly right. Let me read you a couple of comments, B. Hold that thought. Byron Bagwell joining us on the phone, ladies and gentlemen. I know you can't see the comments because you're using your phone, ain't you, B? You're using your phone. But anyway, Dwight says, it really makes me sick seeing all these nasty comments from the left mad at the shooter for missing Trump. But it's nice to see them being called out on social media and getting what they deserve.
Well, it's
Yeah.
it's part of what the problem
It
is
is. Yep.
with what's going on. We have people that are saying things like, "I'm sorry he missed."
Right.
And just to quote a meme, and this is terrible to do in this situation, but I'm going to. All of a sudden, people that wanted people to have their ARs taken from them are supporting somebody that was using an AR in a crime.
Mm-hmm.
To kill a past president. Are you kidding me? And we're sitting back and allowing this to happen. Why aren't these people being investigated? I can tell you why. Because the federal government does not like Donald Trump because it's controlled by the opposite party and they don't care.
Right.
That's the only thing I can figure out is they just don't care that all of this happened. They're going to give people lip service about it. They don't care.
Hey, I want to say something real quick, Byron. Everybody needs to go back and see what happened on the floor of Congress today when Congresswoman Kat Kammick made her speech, because it was a pretty good one.
When she make that speech?
I imagine so. I didn't catch that.
I didn't either.
And she called out that we do have others here that's got R's behind their names, but they're not really R's.
We've been saying that, Byron. I think you've said that in many occasions, that just because you have an R behind your name doesn't mean that you're fully R. Hey,
She tore into him.
Yeah, I'm sure she tore into him. And we know some of those that have an R behind their name that tend to seem not to be on board with the conservative and Republican policies.
Yeah, the rhinos.
Well, what you do is you sit back and you look at it, and I'll be honest with you.
Me too, Dwight.
There are people that have D's besides their name that don't act like Democrats either.
No.
And I'm talking about both to the right and to the left of a Democrat. None of them act like Democrats anymore, because if they did, none of this crap would be going on. JFK would not have anything to do with the modern Democrat Party.
No.
Anything at all.
No, not at all.
We're getting off the subject just a little bit. I want to go back and say this, and this is another thing that I was wanting to say. We're getting all of this crap about on social media about I'm sorry he missed and all of that stuff. One of those shots he missed killed a first responder.
Thank you. That was protecting his family, by the way.
His family.
Yep.
That man lost his life in front of his children and his wife. And you know what? That's about vile. There's no other way to say that. That is about vile.
Yep.
Because you're sorry he missed. It hit a person and killed him, and it critically injured two more people.
Mm-hmm.
But I've actually seen things say stuff like this. Well, we got one of the supporters, so it's okay. I've actually seen stuff like that. And I'm sitting here thinking, gee, in Florida, if you said that to me in front of my face, you might have an issue.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And that is the That is the narrative, Byron, that we've all talked about that's wrong with this country today. We're letting political divides run how we think, and I'm talking mainly to the left, because generally if you tend to lean to the right or are a conservative, you usually have a pretty level head about you. You don't go out and do these kind of things. You know, we try to bring the policies into play that we need to do, and they're usually for the American people. The problem with this other, and I'll just leave it at that because, I mean, you could be independent or whatever. The problem with the other is that media, mainstream and social, has driven and put these things and these horrid things in your mind or in their minds about Trump and his supporters, that it's hard, I don't want to say change their mind, but it's hard for them to understand where he's coming from.
Well,
And that's my issue.
they've dehumanized half the country, is what they've done.
Yeah.
You know, they dehumanized half the country, and they're going to keep on with this until something really bad happens to somebody like Donald Trump, and the people who are not level-headed and actually, you know, actually think before they act are not going to respond to it well. And I can promise you the majority of us do know how to shoot, and it's going to get really, really, really ugly.
Yes, it is.
We don't need that.
No, we don't. No.
We don't need that at all.
We've already been there and done that.
Yeah, been there and done that. Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
368,000 people
Yep.
died in that war you are talking about on both sides. That's a count on both sides. There's no telling how many more people that actually died in that war that were civilians that weren't counted in that total. So you're talking about probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 500,000 people dying in the Civil War. The carnage that you saw back then is nothing compared to what
it would be now. Yep.
Absolutely nothing.
You're right.
And that's why we need to teach this stuff in school.
Well, you're absolutely right, Mitchell. I sit back and I watch and look what's been going on with this. I don't like Joe Biden. I think he's a liar. I think he's tied up with China. I think he's corrupt as crap. Would I sit behind a rifle and shoot him? No, I wouldn't sit behind a rifle and shoot Joe Biden. No, I wouldn't.
No.
He's president of the United States.
Right.
I'm not shooting the president of the United States. Did I elect him? No, but other people did, and I had to live with that for 4 years until I could vote for somebody else. That's not how you handle things in the United States.
Byron, you know, it's funny that you say that because I was watching, when we talked a little bit last night, I was watching the RNC last night, and I was listening to some of the guest speakers that were talking. And one of the speakers sort of hit on the point that you said. She said that she actually voted for Joe Biden 4 years ago. And she said, and everybody, and then she goes, in the same breath, though, she goes, I learned my lesson. I should have never done that. She was listening to mainstream media. She was listening to social media. She was listening to her friends, and they got into her head, and it changed her vote. Now, she was talking about how inflation's up, how prices of gas, groceries, everything is up right now. And she says, I should have never made that vote 4 years ago. But she says, I do have a chance now to make that vote back up in this November election when she says she's going to vote for Donald J. Trump.
Now, I understand exactly what you're saying, but I am in the absolute opposite boat. I will never, as long as I live, vote for another Democrat. I won't ever do it. David, I've sit back since I voted the first time in a presidential election,
Right.
and I voted for, guess who? I voted for Bill Clinton.
Yep.
I started learning more about what I was doing, and then I started listening to stuff other than the mainstream media and thinking about stuff. And I'm like, I'm not sure that I actually agree with everything that this party stands for. Then Bill Clinton committed perjury on stand with the Monica Lewinsky thing.
Yep.
And I was driving to college, when I was in college, sitting there thinking, if I did that, where I would be right now,
Oh, yeah.
I would be sitting in a jail cell, and
Sure
there's no
would.
telling how long I would be sitting there.
Right.
But he gets away with it.
Yeah.
And then I start looking at other things, like him selling our military secrets to the Chinese, which he did. That's recorded.
Right.
Then I started watching these other politicians that are in the Democrat Party and starting understanding just how corrupt, to me, they are. I won't ever vote for them again. Now, will I vote for just any Republican? No, I won't. That's not something I'm going to do unless I absolutely have to. I had to actually bite my tongue and vote for Mitt Romney one time.
Yep. Yep.
And that's exactly what I did. I did not vote for him in the primary. I would never vote for him in a primary. I think he's just about as crooked as Democrats are. But, I've seen too much. I've read too much. I don't agree with their policies. I won't ever vote for them again unless something tremendously crazy happens.
Yeah, I agree. Let me read some comments, B. Byron Bagwell joined us on the phone. Mitchell Gunner, you just heard from him. He's sitting in with us. Mr. Dave Holland, the dancing destroyer himself, behind the scenes, the senior producer, director of the show. Say hello, David, to everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Oh, and Byron, by the way, you know what Dave told me?
Oh, excuse me, guys. Didn't mean to call.
That's all right. You know what Dave told me?
What did Dave tell you?
He said, next week, when you appear on the show, he is going to do the Cupid Shuffle for me and you.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And we'll have that down pat for you as soon as we come back on the show next Tuesday. But anyway, I want to read some of the comments. I love cats. So do I. People see Trump just punched his ticket. I believe so, Byron. I'm going to sit here and say, I know it's too early to tell. I know there's some things out there. All the exit polls, all the polls that I see right now, Trump has a pretty decent margin over Joe Biden right now. And I think it's going to continue to grow because you said it, I think you said this before, those people that were on the fence, I think has now leaned over toward Trump. They fell to the right side. Do you agree with me or disagree?
Some of them yes, some of them no. David, I'm going to tell you, I don't like using this as an example, but if you take a look at Joe Biden and how he talks and how he acts physically, and then you take a look at what happened after Donald Trump was shot, it is night and day. That is an image that will be burnt into Americans' heads from now, probably until we're not here anymore, and probably past that. That is going to become a really iconic image. And I just don't know how that's not going to affect these people voting too, because you're looking at a person that falls upstairs.
Byron, I want to stop you right there for
On
just a second.
bicycles.
I want to stop you right there for just a second. I want to ask Mitchell and you and Dave something. Well, I want to say something. I want to say it to the people. And I'm not saying this in defense of anybody. But me and you talked about this. As a human being, as a father and a grandfather, as you are, Byron, pretty soon, Dave, as you are. You liked that, didn't you? You liked that, didn't you? Yeah, I know you did. Lisa liked that too, I'm sure. But anyway, I know she's listening.
Lisa's sitting there, and she couldn't hear anything that you just said.
Okay, well, she'll go back and listen to what I said, and I'm sure I'll get a swift kick in the rear end the next time we get together. But anyway, I want to go. Well, go ahead.
Go ahead, brother.
So I want to say this. As those things, I got to say, and I know people are probably going to jump me. I know what. I actually feel sorry for the man. Now,
Nobody should jump you. Nobody should jump you for that. The man has dementia. The man is truly ill.
Yes.
And what he is doing is borderline, if not elder abuse. His family's taking advantage of him. The Democrat Party's taking advantage of him.
Yeah.
And that just adds something else that makes me
well,
ill about them.
And again, I'm not taking anything away from his political dealings and those things. If he's guilty of those things that we all portrayed that they are guilty of, he has to pay the price for that. I want to take politics out of it for a minute, like we just said. And as a man, a father, a grandfather, as like I said, we all are, I would want my family to tell me, even though I may be hard-headed about it, Mitchell. You know what I'm saying? I would want my family to tell me and say, Dad, Grandpa, whoever's addressing me, enough. Yeah, I don't want to be addressed as that. But
how about husband?
yeah, or my wife, anybody.
How does Jill live with herself with this?
That's what I'm gonna. That's what I was fixing to say. It's not Biden. It's Jill. She's attention hungry, and she wants to stay in that spotlight as the first lady.
Well, that means to tell me right there that she does not care about him. Again, take the political bull stuff out of it, the stuff that he's accused of doing. As a human being, as a person, as a husband, as y'all just said. So if Shelley told me right now, hey, David, you cannot do this show anymore. You're incompetent of doing it. Boy, would I be hurt, but I would have to let it go. I would have to for my own sanity and for my family's well-being as well. Nobody wants to make a mockery out of me on Facebook Live podcast or YouTube podcast, and I wouldn't want that for myself. This is what you were saying about somebody is hungry for attention, whether it's Jill, I sort of agree with you, Mitchell, or it's just him just being stubborn and not knowing what the heck he's saying. No. But I feel sorry for him as a human, as a father, grandfather, again, taking the politics out of it, and somebody should sit that man down, all his family, and say, Dad, Grandpa, husband, whatever, it's done. It's over.
Well, you look at the news, and so many Democrats was wanting him to step down. I was really surprised they didn't try to invoke the 25th Amendment.
Well, I thought I was going to say,
that way, but they backed off.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. Invoking the 25th Amendment, that process would be extremely hard. It would be extremely hard on the American people.
Yeah. Well,
that's not. I mean, you're talking about removing a sitting president.
Yeah. You talked about that before, Byron. Yeah, I'm surprised nobody's tried it, though. I'm with Mitchell. I'm surprised nobody's tried it.
They were going to try it with Trump, which was nuts.
Yeah, you're right.
I sit back and look at all of this stuff that's going on, and I honestly can't help but wonder if Joe Biden is just a pawn, and this really is the third presidency for the guy he was vice president for.
Yeah.
Because the policies are the same, the nonsense that was going on is the same. I can't help but look at it and go, the policy advisors are the same. How is it not? How did they not? How is this not? Because it's obvious.
Agreed.
It's obvious he's not running the country.
No, and I want to back that up a little bit. First and foremost, David, Shirley said if you do that Cupid shuffle, you get a cake. Hey, I may help you do the Cupid shuffle. And Shirley heard what I said, Byron. Shirley said, your mom said, I heard it, David. I heard it. Yeah, I know you did. So, and Shirley's right. She is evil. If Jill Biden is doing this, that is pure evil. For letting your husband get out there and make a mockery of himself in front of not just our nation, how about the whole damn world?
Well, the thing is,
that's the problem right there.
One of the things is, he has good days, but that's what happens with people who have dementia. They have good moments.
They do.
They have bad moments, and so that's where you see some of his speeches are pretty good per se, with a couple of stumbles, and there's other ones that are just totally bombed, like President Zelensky from Ukraine. He called him Putin.
Putin, yeah.
And then he invites the vice president as Vice President Trump.
Yeah,
she couldn't be president because she wasn't qualified.
There has been so many things that he's said and he's done that's just unbelievable. We've had other presidents that have had dementia in the past, but they were kept out of the public spotlight.
Yes.
Towards the end of Reagan's second term, he was having issues.
Yes, he was.
But they kept him out of the spotlight.
Yep.
And to put a man forward that's clearly got issues like that is just it's criminal to me. It is. It
is, B, and we've talked about this. It is criminal. And if Jill Biden is behind this, she needs to be put behind bars because of it.
I think you need to take a look at Barry Soetoro for that.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
I really do. I've had that in my head ever since he got into office and he started doing the things that he did, because it's almost the same exact playbook.
Hey, Byron, I want to stop the conversation right here. I want to table this off. We're getting up to the 9 o'clock hour. Thank you for joining On the Spot with David Rodgers. I'm David Rodgers. Mitchell in-house. Byron on the phone. Dave Holland producing and directing. He's putting up some pictures up here of what we were going to talk about. I want me and Byron. If you want to come on the show next week, Mitchell, you're more than welcome, and join us in this particular conversation. I want to get more, Byron, next week into the actual events of this shooting. I know we sort of skirted around that a little bit tonight, but I want us to get into that. I want your opinions of this timeline, some of the things that happened, didn't happen, and then I want the viewing audience to come on. So think of some things that you want to ask me, Byron, and if Mitchell joins us next week, that y'all want to ask us. And if you have any concerns, what you think should have happened, this will give you a solid week to come up with that. And join us next Tuesday night on the Spot with David Rodgers, when Byron Bagwell will be back in-house with me. Hopefully Mitchell will join us if he wants to, unless he's out campaigning. Dave will be with us.
I'm done by 7 o'clock. I let people enjoy their evenings.
There you go. He said he's done by 7. But anyway.
Hey, David, I want everybody to think about one thing.
Okay.
And you can get videos of this. It's everywhere now. I want everybody to look at what happened when the shooting stopped with that one sniper that supposedly killed the shooter.
Oh, yeah. Yes. I know what you're talking about, and we can get into that. Absolutely. Yeah, do that, viewing audience, for sure.
Ever in my life have I ever seen someone hit anything with the reaction that guy hit when he squeezed the trigger. I don't know how that happened, but there are all sort of things to talk about with this.
Yes. I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave the show with this. Byron, thank you for joining us. You can stay on and close with us, but I want to leave you guys with this. And Byron, I heard Byron say it. I heard you say it. I've heard some of the viewing audience say it. And yes, I agree with all those last comments with you guys. And Shirley and Dwight hit it right on the head, and that's the way I'm going to close this out. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to continue this conversation next Tuesday night, and we're going to bring some at least we're going to try to bring some clarity to what we know and what will forthcome now within the next week. We'll talk about the Republican National Convention some, but I want to leave you with this. It was divine intervention from the higher power above, which we all know is our God and Jesus Christ. The Trinity, if you want to say, was with Donald Trump that day. Because it was mere millimeters, I'm talking millimeters, from hitting him square in the temple. And again, as Byron said, and all of us have said, we probably would not be doing this show tonight because America would have gone ballistic, especially all the Trump supporters that are really, really backing him and want him to become the next president of the United States. And I'm not saying they're extremists by no means, but they are passionate about this man. They are passionate about this country. And if he would have died that day, Mitchell,
well, it's all the rhetoric that was going on, calling him Hitler. He's going
I want to bring up that.
He's going to bring down our democracy. We need to put a bullseye on him. Those type of remarks may have led to this.
Maybe.
Or the young man could just been mentally
ill. And we're going to get into that. But I want to start by saying this. I love all of you brothers. Y'all know I have. We've been together for 7-8 years now. And we've done a lot of things. We've gotten into a lot of things. I want to say I love you. I'll back you on anything that you ever do. Like we're backing Mitchell now on his race for the school board. But I want to say I love each and every one of you. And I'm just not talking about our viewers. I'm talking about anybody that watches this show, whether it's now, whether it's later, whether it's on YouTube tomorrow night or the following week. I really mean this. We're just a small entity of the news that we bring and our opinions and our thoughts to you. That's why we do this. We love you, the viewers, the American people, and we're just trying to do our very small part to make you realize that this is the greatest country in the world today. I know we have, like I always say in my prayer, we have our own issues and our own problems, but with the right people in the right places, I can assure you this country will be great again. This country will be great again. It will thrive like it should be. And I love America. God bless America. Military, first responders, everybody that's working in America today. I love all Americans. And we need to keep praying for our nation, our leaders, Byron, to do the right thing. And again, I love the American people. I love this country. I would die for this country if I have to. If I had to go back, I would die for this country because I believe in this country. I believe what it can be. And I get emotional, and I know you do too, brother. I really want to sort of tear up right now. But this is the greatest country in the world today. I don't care what anybody says. I know people are out there laughing at us because of the things that are going on right now. But if this election goes, as I think it will in November, this country will turn around again, and people will see what they have been missing the last 4 years. And I just want to say, God bless America. I love you. We'll be back next Tuesday night. And y'all have a great week and a great weekend. Byron, I hope you get to feeling better. Lisa, I hope you get to feeling better as well. I know y'all are. And by the way, did you save me a Philly cheesesteak?
No.
No.
It didn't save you any Doritos either.
See, I knew that, David. You see, I knew that was good. Byron, thank you for joining us, brother. Always love your insight. I wish you was here in studio. We get it, but you will be back next Tuesday. Dave, safe travels as you do your thing. Yeah. I know you're going up for a family reunion.
Yeah, I'll keep in touch with you.
Yeah, please keep in touch with us. Mitchell?
Yes, please.
Good luck as you're out there campaigning. I know you're knocking on those doors and talking to people. And I know you're getting a lot of great reception, too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, again.
Good luck, Mitchell.
On behalf of myself, David Rodgers, Byron Bagwell, who's not in the studio tonight, Mitchell Gunner, and Dave Holland, God bless you. See you next Tuesday night. And God bless America, because it is the greatest nation in the world today. And I love the American people. God bless you. Y'all have a good night.